Welcome back. It is the Flow Friday Sports Show on Flow FM. Lots to get through in this busy hour, and it is now back over to Bruce Phillips, who joins us every week for his sprint car and speedway segment. Bruce, great to be back with you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, Ellis. Great to be back, and the week's gone quick, hasn't it? And we're back with some more sprint car racing. And I don't know, mate, it just seems that they're hanging on these sprint car races. There's another good list happening this weekend, and of course we had 4 races last weekend, so plenty happening in the 410 sprint cars and the 360.
Well, hope you're staying cool in these rather warm autumn temperatures, Bruce, because they're not managing to stay too cool on the track. But aside from in one meeting last weekend where we did get some rain and some ordinary conditions, but we'll get to that a little later on. Firstly, tell us about what went down in Avalon last weekend.
Oh, they had the SRA Sprint Car Series Round 11 down there last week at the magnificent Avalon Raceway at Lara. Just a short drive from the Avalon Airport there, and it was a great meeting down there. And Brock Hallett in the Q5, the contract sprint car out of Queensland. He hasn't had he's had a few podiums, but not the getting the chocolates and the checkered flag of recent times. And so that was a good win for Brock Hallett back in victory lane. And he got the job done from Victoria's Brett Milburn in the V68. And Brett Milburn's been around for a while. He's just a bloke that'll pop up every now and again and get on the podium. And he really is a very experienced driver. Grant Anderson, Ando in the third spot, pulled it in victory lane and got on the podium there with the V37. So it was a pretty good field, as we said last week on the preview. Jordan Charge in fourth and Bobby Daly in fifth. But what I like about this SRA series is it gives a chance for these second-tier drivers to race against each other without the big guns in there, like, you know, your James McFadden and your Jamie Veal and these sort of guys, Lockie McHugh and Jock Goodyear. It just gives these second-tier drivers a real chance against each other to improve themselves and get a podium finish. So that was the Avalon Raceway last week for the SRA Sprint Car Series Round 11. Good win there to Brock Hallett. Moving down to the south and Latrobe Speedway last week, and some good racing down there. Not a big field, but Ethan Wiley in the T15 got the chocolates. Good win for Ethan. Hasn't had too much in the first place this season, but a good win for him down there in that one in the 410 sprint cars from Chad Gardner in the T45 and Matthew Peck in the T73. So a good meeting down there with only 5 cars finishing. Jason Dawkins and Marty Bissett in 5th place. There were 6 cars that didn't get across the finish line. Moving over to South Australia, and there was a big weekend down there at Borderline Speedway, right near the magnificent, it's only a few kilometres, right near the beautiful Blue Lake down there at Mount Gambier, and always a great little spectacle when you go down there to visit the caves and the lake and get along to the Speedway there, right near the Victorian South Australian border. And down there at Borderline Speedway last week, they had the big SA Pro Sprint State title. So it was a big meeting, a title on the line, and of course the SA Pro Sprint, formerly the 360 sprint cars, and what a win it was for the Strathalbyn steamer, Daniel Pesca, in the S27. Great to see Daniel back in victory lane. He's had a little bit of a lean season. He's had a little bit of an unlucky season, but great to see Daniel in the Strat steamer back in first place for the checkered flag. And he got the chocolates from the current Australia 1 in the 360 division, Mark Caruso, who's out of Adelaide, and his brother was a Caruso affair, Stephen, in the S10 in 3rd place. Local boy down there at Mount Gambier, Scotty Andell, getting in 4th place in the S11. And our hero up here in Murray Bridge, Ryan Jones, in the S63. A good result for him in 5th place. Moving up to Dubbo now, and what a meeting it was up there last week. Some of it for the wrong reasons, but they had some rain that they're able to seal the tracks in the Speedway and get it that way that if they do get a heavy downpour, if they seal the tracks. Now, sealing the tracks, we mean mean by grading it and getting it to the stage where it gets a crust on it and the water can't sort of get into it as easy and it'll run off. And, of course, last weekend, the sealer forgot to do sealing.
So this can really mean that only 8 cars out of 20 make a finish here, Bruce.
Yeah, there was a bit of a disappointing finish line in the end, but the mud on the cars was just incredible. It was a late start, about 8:30, and in the end, the A main, it was just 8 cars finishing, 12 not, and perhaps for the wrong reasons there, but the same cars were having something like 20 kilos of mud on them, so just incredible, scraping the wet, the clay off of them. So an incredible meeting there at Dubbo, but well done to the organisers for getting the meeting in, and that's the main thing. We want to see sprint cars racing, and they did a good job there. Winning that event was Lockie McHugh. Great effort in the Australia One. Good to see Lockie in that Australia One, getting around to all the tracks, because that's what the fans want to see. They want to see the best driver in Australia. So great to see Lockie getting out to the smaller speedway in Dubbo in New South Wales. Michael Stewart got second in the NS14. And Marcus Dumsey in the N47 in third place. Randy Morgan, really much improved driver out of Queensland, Q54 in fourth, and Warren Ferguson in fifth place. That rounds out to last week's Speedway. And as we said, there's a long list there. We won't read them all, but 12 cars didn't finish, and a couple of those were big names in the likes of Matt Dumsey and Alex Orr, who did quite well in the January event, and Ryan Newton out of Queensland. So some big names didn't finish, but great to see they got that meeting in.
At least, organisers and officials ensuring that at least we had the 8 cars finish. Moving on to the action this weekend, Bruce, plenty to rattle off on here, and we don't have too long, so let's get right into it with the Australian Sprint Car Masters this weekend.
Oh, yeah, this should be a beauty, mate, at Murray Bridge, and a great list of nominations for this one. 31 cars, so that is a great meeting ahead for Murray Bridge on Saturday night. Now, it'll be a little bit later start because of the heat. Predicted 42 degrees here in Murray Bridge on Saturday, so it is going to be a hot day, so don't rush to the speedway because it is a little bit of a late start, I'm told. 31 cars, and what about the quality in this field? Daniel Peska rip out the 360 and put a 410 in it, and you've got Matt Dumsey, you've got Marcus Dumsey, you've got Matty Eagle, some really big names, the Caruso, so I'd expect this to be a good meeting. Ben Morris, much improved, and Brendan Quinn, a good victory earlier this season, and making the classic final list there, so it should be a great meeting at Murray Bridge. So that incorporates the Ross Wright Memorial, and then of course they go into night 2 on Sunday night. So it should be a big weekend, huge weekend in Murray Bridge. For the double header, should be a big crowd there over the weekend with a holiday long weekend in Murray Bridge. Also on the card for the weekend, the SRA Victorian Sprint Car title. That keeps rolling on the SRA series. 19 cars nominated. And as I said earlier, these are the second tier drivers that get a chance to race against each other and get up on that podium, like Chris Solomon, Grant Stannisfield, and Bobby Daly, Andrew Hughes, Adam King. Some good drivers amongst it, so that should be a great meeting there. And rounding out this weekend on our list is the ACT. Now, great to see Canberra getting some speedway up and happening. It's called the Regional Rumble Round 5 at the ACT Speedway there in Canberra, and a good list of nominations there. 20 nominations and some good quality drivers in the field, including Jackson Delamont and blokes like Alex Attard that have travelled to Murray Bridge, and Lachlan Corn. He's also a very good driver. So some good names there. And of course, Michael Stewart had a good podium win last week. So 20 drivers there in the Regional Rumble at the ACT Speedway. Good on them there, Canberra. And of course, with the Sydney Speedway still not happening, good to see these smaller tracks like Dubbo and ACT and Lismore getting up and about with some 410 sprint car racings this season, and it should be another huge weekend. We'll be along there at Murray Bridge and drinking plenty of water. It should be a big night and big weekend. It'll be hot, so expect some great racing on that track there at Murray Bridge, which, just last time, it was one of the rated in the Speed Week as the best track of Speed Week, so I'd expect some magnificent racing this weekend in Murray Bridge.
All right, well, Bruce, I've got producer Clayton in my ear, and he's giving me the hurry on, so some very quick comments from you with regards to how you see the other races going on this weekend, the Vic FRA, we've also got the ACT Speedway, and some other racing going on in Murray Bridge. Bridge as well. Just give us a couple minutes worth of commentary on all those there, Bruce.
Oh, it should be a good night there. Like the Ross Wright Memorial. Ross Wright was an absolute legend in the Murray Bridge Speedway and South Australian Speedway in general, and an absolute legend, of course, passed quite a few years ago now. And this race in honour of him incorporated with the Australian Sprint Car Masters Night 1. And look, a great field there, as we said. Lockie McHugh, the Australia 1, and he's going to be driving that. So great to see McHugh getting around to these other tracks and other states to showcase that car with the A1 on it. You've got Marcus Dumpty. Matt Eagle coming off a win there a couple of weeks ago, had a really terrible season with accidents and in the wrong place at the right time, and so we'll look for him to bounce back. Scotty Andell having a great season from Mount Gambier. You got Brendan Quinn, who was, I think he finished about 13th in the Grand Daniel Sprint Car Classic. Another one that's had a great season in the F14. So, it's a quality field, and when you throw in Murray Bridges local, you knew it was coming, didn't you? My favourite, Ryan Jones in the S63. And look, he'll get that machine, the Murray Machining and Sheds S63, fired up on his home track. And look, I'd expect Ryan Jones, he hasn't had a lot of luck this season, but I reckon he can get it up on the podium, probably a third place. So it'll be a great weekend, and some good quality drivers coming through in South Australian Speedway. We think of guys like Lockie McDonough and, as I said, Ben Morris, Brendan Quinn, some good drivers coming through the mix, and emerging talent, that's for sure. And really is up and about at the moment, sprint car racing in South Australia. And for Murray Bridge 31, that is good numbers for this event, the Australian Sprint Car Masters. Should be a good night. I'll be there, Ellis.
Good work, Bruce, and thank you so much for your contributions on our sports show tonight. We will speak to you again next week. Enjoy all the racing, Bruce, and stay cool.
We'll do, mate. Look forward to the action next week.